All right, everyone, welcome to our session this evening. This session is on our Master of Science in Software Engineering. My name is Lynn Hegewald. I'm the Master's Program Manager in ECE here at Purdue. Eve Vega is also with us. She is one of our admissions counselors, and some of you may have already spoken to her. This is meant to be a really informal session. I do have a handful of slides I'm going to go through. I'm going to talk a little bit about Purdue and a little bit about the degree program. We'll touch on completing your application, and then we should have plenty of time for questions. So while I'm going through the slides, if you have any questions that come up, you can go ahead and write those in the Q&A. And then tomorrow or Friday, you will get a follow-up email from me with a link to this recording and also a couple other resources, just some of the things that we talk about tonight that might be useful for you. So with that, I'll go ahead and get started. I'd like to start this session by talking about Purdue because not everybody is familiar with Purdue. Obviously, you know enough because you're here. You are interested in our programs, but we are a public land-grant research university in West Lafayette, Indiana. West Lafayette is about 2 hours south of Chicago, about an hour north of Indianapolis, sort of in the northwest part of Indiana. The university's been here since 1869. We are a very large university. For our West Lafayette campus, which actually has a location in West Lafayette and in Indianapolis, we have over 57,000 students, 43,000 undergraduate students, and around 13,000 graduate students. So Purdue has a really long history of excellence in engineering education. We're well known, not just in the Midwest and the US, but around the world as being a very strong school for engineering. And our graduate programs in engineering are currently ranked number 5. Actually, some new rankings came out today. So I think we're probably still at least 5, but I need to check those and update them. But yeah, a lot of our programs, our individual engineering programs are very highly ranked by US News and World Report, but overall our graduate programs are ranked number 5. So if we take a look at ECE, we are the largest school at Purdue. We offer 2 undergraduate degrees, a Bachelor of Science in Electrical Engineering and a Bachelor of Science in Computer Engineering. We have over 2,400 undergraduate students in that program. And then we are also the largest graduate program at Purdue with over 1,600 graduate students. So our graduate students consist of our residential master's students, and we have 300 to 400 of those. We have 2 online master's programs. So we have this master's in software engineering. We also have a master's in ECE. We have about 500 or maybe probably more like 600 students in that program. The software engineering program is relatively new. We started it last year. So the ECE program has been around a little bit longer. And then the remaining students that we have are PhD students. We have a very large PhD program, residential PhD program here in West Lafayette. So, of course, given that we've been around for so long, we have thousands of alumni. We have over 125 faculty members, which puts us at among the largest in the nation, if not the largest. And then our faculty members are doing more than $71 million in annual research. So this software engineering program is actually a collaboration between ECE and computer science. So if we take a quick look at computer science, Purdue Computer Science is the first degree granting computer science program in the United States. It is also a very large department here at Purdue, 3,400 undergraduate students and about 500 graduate students. 80 faculty, more than 80 faculty members, and lots of interesting research going on over in computer science as well. So if we take a look at the degree program, a couple things that make this unique. We do have residential students in our Master of Science of Software Engineering. So our online students are completing the same courses with the same faculty and are earning the exact same degree. We only offer 2 master's degrees. We have our master's in ECE, and then we have our master's in software engineering. So whether you are online or whether you are residential, you earn the exact same degree. Additionally, your transcript does not say anything about work completed online, and your diploma does not either. All of our students earn the same diploma and their transcript looks the same. The program is fully online, so you can complete the coursework on your schedule. And what I mean by that is our courses run on a semester basis. So it's just like when you were an undergraduate. They start on a certain date, they end on a certain date, and then during that semester, you have a calendar of things. Each week you have some lectures you need to watch. You may have quizzes and homeworks and projects and exams. So it's not self-paced per se, but everything is asynchronous for our online students. You do not have to attend any in-person sessions, and you do not ever need to come to Indiana. So the vast majority of our students in our online programs are working full-time in industry. And so those students are usually just take one course per semester, one 3-credit course per semester. We do have some students who are full-time, but the majority of our students are part-time. So you could potentially complete the degree in 1 year, but most of our students are taking 3 to 4 years. We do allow up to 6 years, and that is a little bit subjective. So it's quite flexible. It does seem to work out fine for our students. One of the nice things about our master's program, both this one and our ECE program, is that they're very flexible. And I'll talk a little bit in a minute about the areas of interest, but some online master's programs are very prescribed. So everybody comes in and takes this course, and then they take this course, and then they take this course. Our program doesn't work that way. We do have some degree requirements that you have to meet, but the actual ECE and CS courses that you take are those that you select and are those that match your area of interest. So you have a lot of flexibility to specialize in a certain area, or even take courses from a couple different areas within software engineering if you do have multiple areas of interest. This is also a reduced price program. It is $950 per credit hour, and that is for everyone. That's in-state, out-of-state, international. You pay as you go, and the full cost is $28,500. Most of our students do use tuition reimbursement through their employer. So I mentioned the flexible coursework. Within EC, or underneath this degree, we have these 4 sort of informal areas of interest: cybersecurity, embedded software, robotics and controls, machine learning and data science, and system software. Now for each of these, I've got some sample course lists and sample plans of study on our website. This ECE Software Engineering Master's Program Student Guide, which is a very comprehensive page about our program, and I'll send you a link to that tomorrow. But as I mentioned, you can focus on one of these areas, or you can take courses from multiple areas. It's completely up to you. We feel that's a big benefit to our program. So if we look at the degree requirements, our master's degree requires a total of 30 credit hours. And underneath that, you have to have a minimum of 18 credit hours of ECE and CS graduate level coursework. So if you look at my diagram here, those are all the courses in green. 2 of those courses are what we call core courses. So you have to select 2 core courses. We have a list. I think there's 3 options. One of them is advanced software engineering. I can't remember the title of the other one, but those are some requirements. But these other courses here that you take, again, those are your choice. You do have to take 1 math course that's shown here in yellow. A lot of our students take a graduate level linear algebra course, or we do have some statistics courses that are very relevant to students in industry. And then after that, 18 credit hours of ECE coursework, 3 credit hours of math. There is 9 additional credit hours. And most of our students just continue to take ECE and CS coursework because they've got a lot of topics they want to learn about. But we are fortunate to have a lot of courses from other areas that are relevant to the degree that you can consider. So mechanical engineering, industrial engineering, biomedical, aero, all those engineering areas that we have at Purdue, we do have course offerings from those, and those would be available to you as one of our online students. So what can you expect from your courses at Purdue? First of all, I want to mention that all of the courses are taught by faculty, which is great because you get to learn from the experts. The lectures are recorded, so you can watch them when it's convenient. We have our courses come in a couple different varieties. We have some that have pre-recorded lectures. Most of them are, the instructor is lecturing on campus Monday, Wednesday, Friday, or Tuesday, Thursday, whatever that on-campus schedule is. They are recording their lectures. They are posting them to Brightspace, our learning management system, for our online students, generally within an hour or two. So, many of our students are doing their coursework in the evening, but a lot of times you can, watch the Zoom recordings live. You can watch it on your lunch hour or if you have a break or whatever. But everything is recorded, so you can watch and rewatch those lectures as needed. The types of assessments in the courses will vary. A lot of these software engineering type courses will not have exams or homework. They will be more project-based, but it really depends. So you may have homework, you may have quizzes, you may have exams, and you certainly will have projects. And then almost all of our courses include a discussion forum. We use an online tool called Piazza, which is really great for our online students. Actually, it's great for all of our students because it's a nice way to get quick answers to your questions, not just from the teaching team, the instructor and the TA, but also from your peers. And then our faculty members do hold office hours, and I will say they're pretty good about scheduling those after hours on the weekends and even by appointment to accommodate our online students. So overall, I think we've been teaching online for quite a while. We've been growing our MSECE program, growing this program as well. And we've gotten pretty good, we being our faculty members, have gotten really good at teaching online. And I think our existing students are pretty happy with the quality of our teaching. So Eve, you want to talk about the application?
Absolutely. So if this sounds like the right program for you, we can't wait to review your application. To get started, you would submit your application online. You can find that through our website, and then we'll also be on the follow-up email that we send. With your application, we will need for you to submit transcripts. Those transcripts do have to be official, and they need to come from every university that you have previously attended, even if you did not confer a degree from that university. If you are an international applicant, we will also need the English translated copies of these transcripts, and we will also need a copy of your diploma. We will also require that you submit 3 letters of recommendation. Those letters of recommendation must be professional and/or academic, meaning they can be all academic, all professional, or a blend of both. We will need a resume. We do strongly recommend including any relevant information. Don't shy away from being as detailed as possible so that we can truly understand the breadth of your experience. You will also be submitting 2 different writing statements. One is an academic statement of purpose. The other is a personal history statement. These 2 documents are great opportunities for us to fill in the blanks between all the other documents that you submitted, and that'll help us get a better understanding of who you are, where you've been, where you're going, and why this program is a good fit for you. Lastly, the GRE is not required. However, we do typically recommend that to students that come with traditionally lower GPAs or students that may come from universities that we are not familiar with. We do perform a holistic application review process, and we do review applications in the order that they are received. We do strongly recommend submitting all of your application with your application materials as soon as possible. Generally speaking, what I oftentimes see is that a student will submit everything right on time, but those letters of recommendation sometimes don't always make it on time. So I strongly recommend starting earlier than what you may originally plan, just to make sure that your recommenders do have ample time. And it's always a great idea to communicate with them and kindly give them reminders of the application deadlines coming up. As far as those deadlines, we do have our next deadline coming up for the fall semester. That deadline is July 15th, so that gives you plenty of time to get all these application materials together. And classes will be beginning on August 24th. If you have already been admitted, congratulations. The next step is to accept your offer of admission. Once that is done, you will complete your online orientation, including registering for courses. It does take about 3 or 4 weeks or so is generally what we say to review applications. It may be sooner the closer we get. And if you have any questions about your compatibility with the program, we do strongly recommend reaching out to us, either to Lynn Hegewald, or you can also email me to set up an appointment to talk about your academic and professional background and how it may be compatible with the program.
Thank you, Eve. Yeah, and that's a good point. Every time I do this presentation, I remember that I want to add a slide about who is this program right for, and then I always forget. So let me talk about that a little bit. Um, this program is a little bit unique. If we think about our ECE program, that program is for strictly for students who have a double E or ECE background. We do have some students from mechanical engineering or physics or math in that program, but the vast majority of those students have a double E or ECE background. And that is really needed because our graduate level courses do not teach foundational knowledge. So if you had a background completely out of engineering, you really wouldn't be prepared. Software engineering is similar, but a little bit different. So this program is great for somebody who has an undergraduate degree in computer engineering or computer science or data science or something similar. But there is a lot of prior knowledge that is needed. And on our website, and I'll send this to you if you haven't seen it already, we do have a self-assessment. Again, the issue is that our graduate level courses do not teach that foundational knowledge. And so incoming students need to have that prior knowledge through their education or through their work experience. We do know that a lot of folks learn these software engineering skills on the job, and we recognize that. And that's okay. But it is important to, even for yourself, answer that assessment honestly, because, this is a very rigorous program. It's by no means easy, and it's very difficult to, if you imagine taking a graduate level course, it's difficult. That course is difficult enough without you having to make up some prior knowledge or learn some things on the side as you go. So we do encourage you to take a look at that self-assessment. And I am always happy to talk to students. If you have questions, if you're like, well, I know this, but I don't know that, or I've got this background, but my background's kind of strange. You can always start with Eve, and then I'm more than happy to take a look at your transcript and resume to give you some additional information about whether the program might be appropriate for you. One more slide. I do want to mention, I have talked about the ECE program, along with the software engineering program. And I want to just mention that, for some of you, our master's degree in electrical and computer engineering may be of interest to you. If we look at that degree on the left-hand side of this page, you can see we have 7 interest areas, one of those being computer engineering. So if we take computer engineering and then take out the software engineering part, that's how we've created our master's degree in software engineering. But I just want to mention that for some of you, again, the master's degree in electrical and computer engineering may be of interest to you. You might want to take a look at that. But really, it boils down to which credential you want and which one aligns best with your background. So that's the last slide that I have. Let me stop my share.
And Lynn, one more thing I did want to mention to our learners is by using the Purdue application, you can actually apply for more than one program. So if you are considering both but not sure what route to go, we do recommend applying to both. It will be the one-time application fee, and you don't need to resubmit documents for both programs. So that would be a great alternative as well.
Yes, very good point. Thank you for bringing that up. I'm not seeing any questions in the chat. If you guys have any questions, you're more than welcome to write those in the chat. A couple things that we also generally cover at this session. We get a lot of questions about transfer credit. So we do allow students to transfer in up to 6 credits of relevant coursework graduate level coursework that they may have completed at another university. You have to, it has to be graduate level. You have to have a grade of B or higher. And then those credits cannot have been used to earn another degree. So I'm the starting point for transfer credit. If you have, once a student is admitted, if they have courses they're interested in transferring, they provide those details to me and we go from there. What else do we normally talk about at this point, Eve?
A lot of students are typically interested in knowing if there are any research opportunities, since we are a non-thesis program, and what that would look like for them, if any options.
Yeah, good point. This is a non-thesis program. You know what? I need to look at that because let me just take a look here. Because I forget. I know that our online ECE students can do a limited amount of research, independent study. They cannot do a thesis. Let me just look here at the degree requirements. Okay, yes. So students in the software engineering program are able to do up to 3 credits of an independent study project. The difficult thing there is that you have to go out and find that project with our faculty. We don't have a list or anything, but typically what that looks like is you would do some research on our faculty. We have a whole faculty directory, and they all have websites that talk about their research. You would start by reviewing that information, finding some faculty members whose area of interest aligns with yours, reaching out to them, seeing if they might have an independent study project for you. And I will tell you that if you've got something that is related to your work, of course, we have, uh, intellectual property, confidentiality, non-compete, all this kind of stuff. But if you could get past that and do something related to your work, our faculty like that. They like to know what's going on in industry. So definitely something to consider if you're interested in doing that.
Another question we also usually get is pertaining to lab simulations. What would lab simulations look like?
Yeah, that's a good question too. So, when you were an undergrad student, if you were an undergrad in engineering, you actually went to a lab where you did, lab assignments. At the graduate level, we do not have labs like that, and particularly in software engineering. But even in our ECE program, we don't have labs. We have some virtual labs, but everything else is virtual. So obviously, if you're writing software, um, there's no need to go to a lab. All of the tools that would be needed are either going to be free or they will be provided to you. There are no additional costs that you have to incur other than textbooks. And I will tell you that the vast majority of our graduate level courses do not have textbooks, or if they do, the faculty member will provide it for you. So, we use GitHub, we use a couple other systems, open source software. So again, there are no other significant costs associated with the program. I've lost part of my screen. Let's see. What else do we normally cover at this time? You may take some courses that do have exams, but there won't be that many. We do use an online proctoring tool called HonorLock for exams. So generally the way exams work are, for online students, you have a window of at least 12 to 24 hours. Usually it's a couple days where you can take an exam with this online proctoring. You have, 60 or 90 minutes to complete the exam once you get started. Whether it's, open book or closed book will depend on the instructor. But this works really well for our students because some students like to get up early in the morning and take the exam before they go to work. Maybe some take it on their lunch hour, some will take it in the evening, some will save it till the very last minute to take it. So that technology does allow us to, or allow our students quite a bit of freedom in taking the exams. And technology-wise, it works really well. So we're happy with that. Anything else you can think of, Eve? I'm kind of drawing a blank at this point.
I can't think of anything else, and it doesn't look like we have any questions in the chat box feature, but if anyone has any questions after reviewing this recording, please know that Lynn and I are happy to help answer any questions. If you have any personal questions regarding your individual situation and your individual background, like Lynn said, you could always start out with making an appointment with me so we can go over details a little bit more. And if we need to pre-screen your transcript and or resume, Lynn is happy to do that.
Absolutely, absolutely. So as I mentioned, look for a follow-up email from me with a link to the recording and then some of the resources. I'll send you a link to those sample plans of study, the curriculum requirements, and so on. Feel free to reach out to Eve, as she mentioned. Feel free to reach out to me. We're more than happy to have a conversation by email, or if you want to meet by Zoom, I'm happy to do that as well. So thank you all for joining us this evening. We hope this session has been useful, and we look forward to hearing more from you. Bye-bye.